What? Oh, you came back. Hey, guess what? Just in time. Today we're going to put the camshaft in the motor, part 3 in the build series, small block Ford. Let's get after it. Alright guys, first things first, parts and tools. For parts, we need the cam retaining plate, the cam retaining nut, the keyway for the crank that's going to locate the crank sprocket, and then we have the cam sprocket and our double roller timing chain. That's all we need in the way of parts. For tools, it is a Ford, so the hammer is, just kidding, don't get your feelings hurt. Something to hold the crank with, and then something to tighten the camshaft sprocket with. Some older Ford motors, this is worth noting, some older Ford motors come with fuel pump eccentrics. I have an intake fuel pump. Whoops, I have an intake fuel pump, so that's not necessary. And this oil slinger. Sometimes you'll see these on older Ford motors. They sit on the crank sprocket like such, and the idea is that it flings oil up onto the chain and such, but it's just not a necessary piece. One other thing that I have that we're going to install today is this oiling plug. It's basically just a plug for one of the engine oil galleys that sits right behind the distributor, and my machine shop is awesome. Shout out if you're in Alabama or anywhere near Alabama, Pilcher's Automotive in Enterprise, they're the best. They've been racing for a lot of years. They build some really awesome stuff, and they're super honest guys. So if you're looking for engine work done in lower Alabama, that's where you need to be. Okay, anyways, we're going to install that, and that just goes right up here. We'll do that, and then we'll call this one done. So that's all the parts and tools we need. So let's set up and get after it. Alright guys, one of the first things we need to do is we need to seat, however you want to say it. We need to put this this crankshaft keyway in. So it's a little half moon keyway. Now the tolerance between the cutaway and the keyway is very, very tight. I believe it's within 1,000th or so. Actually, we can check that. Stand by. So the keyway is, it looks like 190 thousandths. 190 thousandths. Let's see what the opening is here. 185. Okay, so 5 thousandths. That ain't bad. It actually is. Oh wait, no, I got a bad measurement. 185. Must have been hitting it on a fat part. So it is within about 2,000, so that belongs in the press fit territory. So first thing we need to do is find our calibrated swing press, wherever I put that thing. That's a hammer. What the fuck is my hand in my hand? Oh, shit. It's right here. Okay. Do you guys have the same problems as I do, or is it just me? So you want to make sure this bad dog is clean. Let's get a little compressed air. Cover your ears. I just realized the other day how loud that is on camera. It's obnoxious. Anyways, so we're gonna put the keyway. We're gonna do it dry. We don't want it to jump out on us. We want to make sure that this keyway is free of any kind of burrs, especially if you salvaged it from another crank, which I did this one. I salvaged it out of another crank. You may be able to see this. Let's see if it'll focus. Where's my thing? There's a little bit of burr on the end there. I just took it over to the, I got a 12-inch disc sander over there and cleaned it off, and it's going to be fine. So really make sure this thing's free of debris. And you're just going to put it in here, center it up the best you can, and you're just going to send it home with a couple whacks of the old swing press. And you're going to know when it stops, because listen to the way it sounds now. That sound is going to change. There it is. So that sound went from kind of a dull thunk where it was moving to a sharp kind of a tink tink metal sound. That's how you know when that bad Johnny's seated all the way in there. Alright, now it's time for the cam. We're going to get the cam out and cleaned off. Let's use a clean blue Scott towel. I really like these blue ones. They don't leave a bunch of garbage behind. Okay, now you want to be careful with a camshaft because they're actually super fragile. You drop them, they'll break. Alright, and we'll just give it the once over and make sure we get all the crap knocked off of it. Then once we do that, I'm going to give it a once over with acetone, and then after that we're going to pre-lube it with assembly lube. Now, being that this is a roller motor and a roller cam, the only thing that's really necessary for this is some kind of assembly lube where the journals of the cam contact the bearings, and engine oil will do the job on the lobes. Does that mean I'm not going to put any there? No, I'm still gonna definitely use some assembly lube on the lobes, but just for gee whiz information, it's actually not necessary. All right, I went and got some gloves because it's finna get greasy. So up top, on the top of the cam here, is my camshaft installation tool. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I just made it a couple days ago. A super handy thing to have when you are when you're installing camshafts. It beats the crap out of things. Just gives you something good to hang on to. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lube the cam up. And then we're going to take it over to the engine and send her home. Alright, let's take it over the engine and install it into the block. Okay, cam's cleaned off, bearings I know are all clean, and we're going to slowly insert the cam here. Again, the goal is to not damage the other bearings. So one of the tricks is to readjust your hand frequently right behind the next journal. So you'll have your hand here and then you can run it all the way in here. You don't want to hold it by the journal because you're going to get halfway in and you'll have to set the cam on one of the lobes. You don't want to do that. So I've got my hand right behind one of the journals, and you'll feel every once in a while there's going to be a little free floating section. You want to be very careful with that free floating section, and you're looking for home. There it is. Okay, almost home. I'm going to take a little break. This last part gets to be probably the trickiest. I'm going to give it a little more lube here just because I kind of wiped some of it off with my hand. Okay, I'm just going to brace the back of my hand up against the block here. There it is, all the way home. Look at that. Oh, I love it. Okay, so next thing I need to do is install some oil plugs. So what you can see here, what this is the thrust plate that goes over the face of the camshaft here that keeps the cam from walking around. Unlike a Chevy, Ford has this neat little plate that kind of holds it in place. Nothing wrong with the way the Chevy does it. I've never heard of any problems that way, but Ford just does it a little bit different. So as you can see, there's two small bolts here, and they actually have very specific fasteners. They're very thin on the head of the fastener, so don't get those mixed up and get something else. The reason they need to be thin is they need to clear the back of the they need to clear the rear face of the camshaft sprocket. If they're too big, they'll rub. Okay, so as you can see, this will bolt right here. And what this does, the early camshafts didn't have this, or the early thrust plates did not have this feature. But you see how it bumps out right here? And also kind of bumps out right here. The purpose here is to keep you from losing an oil galley plug. And the oil galley plug, if you were to lose it, you'd lose all oil pressure and it would destroy the engine in a matter of seconds. So it's kind of a fail-safe feature. I don't know how much good the top one would do, but the bottom one will definitely keep that plug from backing out. So what we need to do now is we need to install our 3 oil galley plugs. They're just 1/4 inch pipe right here, and then as I mentioned earlier, the one right here, let's see if we can get that in frame. The one right here has a 35 thousandths hole in it, and its purpose, you're not going to lose any oil pressure this way, but what it's going to do as that bore, that oil galley that is pressurizing all the lifters on the number 2 side of the engine, it's also going to feed a small stream of oil onto the camshaft and what can I think? The camshaft and distributor timing gear, which interestingly enough, I'm not going to be having a distributor on this motor. I'm going crank trigger with Mega Squirt, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. But anyways, back to the story. What we're doing now, we're gonna put these in, little dab of RTV on the 3 of them, and we'll tighten them down. Okay, worth noting, at the rear of the engine, there's the back of the cam, there are also oil galley plugs ×3. No, we can't see very well. Let me get a light. There are 3 oil galley plugs at the rear of the engine too. Hard to get to when it's on the engine stand. So when you hang the motor from the engine hoist, make sure you're installing your rear cam plug and your 3 oil galley plugs back here. Okay, next piece for installation is the thrust plate. So the newer style thrust plates, such as this one, they're kind of dummy proof. It says right there, back, bottom. So back would be towards the back of the engine, and bottom, the bottom of the engine, just like so, back, bottom. And I'm going to give it a little bit of lubrication here. Another thing that you'll notice here is there's a little groove right there, and that groove, its job is to pick up oil from right here and lubricate the front face of this of the cam here, where the cam thrusts against the thrust plate. You can never go wrong with a little bit of lube. All right. Now the spec, or the book, calls for a torque spec of 10 foot-pounds on these little 1/4 20 bolts. And again, remember, not just any 1/4 20 bolts. These bolts have that thin head on them so they can clear the cam gear. $10. Come on, you. There you go. 10. 10. It's not a whole lot of holding them suckers in there, but just enough. Holy crap, almost forgot. Those bolts need Loctite. That would have been bad. It's only 10 pounds holding them in there. So I always drop a little dot of red Loctite on them. So let me do that real quick. That looks like a bloody mess. And not like in the British way either. I mean, like, it's red, so bloody. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to install the crank gear sprocket, cam or gear sprocket thingy. The one that goes on the bottom. The one that goes on the crank. Jesus. This thing down here. Okay, as far as cam timing and phasing goes, I'm going to install this straight up. The B303 cam has 5 degrees advance cut into it, so I'm not going to advance or retard it. I'm just going to run it straight up and down. If you want to know more about degreeing cams, there's a ton of videos out on it. Granted, I don't have one, but there's plenty of videos floating around. Okay, so I've got the crank up at top dead center, number 1 piston's all the way up, and we're going to install the crank, or the cam gear lined up directly with the pin here. Oh, that pin is super short. Why is that pin so short? I'm not sure how I feel about that pin being that damn short. So I'm gonna do some looking on that, but this washer serves 2 purposes. You can see it overlaps the hole here, and it keeps the that pin from walking back out. Boy, that pin is short. I wonder if that's okay. To be honest with you guys, I've never seen one like that. That's the one that came with the cam. Wow. Concerning. Anyways, straight up on the cam, there is a 0, and you will just line it up like that. So you got 0 and 0. So the cam needs to come around, or the crank needs to come around a little bit. There it is. Okay, that's lined up. I'm going to do a little research real quick and see if that's an issue, because I don't like how short that is. It's not engaging the gear, but maybe halfway through it. I have drill rod the same size. I may make one if I need to. We'll see. Alright, so I just did some research, and a lot of people say that having the pin come all the way flush to the front is kind of rare, but it shouldn't be that far back like it is. So I'm going to take it out and make one. I sick to my stomach thinking about what would happen if I lost that stupid pin or it sheared or something. All right, so we got the right dowel pin in there. I just robbed the other one off my other motor. I didn't have to make one. It comes about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through the hole, and I'm fine with that. Alright, we've got the cam set straight up, and we've got the crank set straight up. Number 1 piston's at top dead center. And now we just need to put it all together. So the tricky part here is getting everything lined up just right. So I need to get the cam sprocket right at the right tooth here for both sides to line up. That looks pretty close. I'm just going to slide it in. Oh, whoops, I pushed the cam back. Damn it. It's okay, I can push it back from the other side. New key's a little bit sticky. Alright, let me try and push the cam back from this side. There we go. Oh, looks like I'm off the tooth, I think. Let me see. I think that's it right there. Okay, let's take a look here. There is the centerline mark on the crank, and there's the centerline mark on the cam. This is installed straight up, and I think we are in there. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, last thing to do is install the camshaft retention bolt and washer and torque to spec, which is 40 to 45 pounds. I'm going to split the difference, probably hit it at 42 to 43, something like that. And of course, a dab of red Loctite to keep you sane. Here we go. I was hoping it wouldn't turn the rotating assembly. There it is. Alright guys, we did it. We got it installed. We got the cam installed. It's in there like swimwear in July. And I know it's typically taken me a long time to get these videos out. I want to be more active on YouTube and getting those things out sooner. So please do me a favor. It keeps me encouraged if you guys comment, like, subscribe to videos and all that stuff. It really helps me out just to keep me motivated to doing this stuff. So please stay engaged with me. And if you like this stuff, again, look for it coming here pretty soon. We should have the next one out in, I don't know, a couple weeks or so. So stay tuned for it, and thanks again for watching. See ya!